Hey guys, what's going on? My name is Initon, and welcome to the final day of spoiler season for the upcoming set for Legends of Runeterra, A Curious Journey. Another champion today, the final one. We got GNAR, and some other cards, of course. We got some Vandal City cards as well. But yeah, fairly powerful cards. GNAR at least is very, very powerful. So yeah, like expansion's looking pretty good. We're probably going to get the patch notes itself tomorrow, which I believe might include some nerfs towards some decks, specifically Ari Cannon. But yeah, I'm a big fan of GNAR. I think he is the strongest of the 4 champions that have been shown off, and I think he might have the most impact on the meta. So, let's go and look at the cards. Not that many cards today. I think it's only 4 cards today, but there's a lot to talk about, especially mostly with GNAR. So, what is GNAR? GNAR is a 4-mana 4/3 Yordle with Quick Attack. So, Yordle synergy if you want it. Strike. Create a Pokey Stick in hand, or if you have one, reduce its cost by 1. So I assume it works like Zoe and Star Charts. I assume if you have a Star Chart from your deck in your hand, it'll just, or a Pokey Stick in your hand from your deck, it'll just discount that instead of creating a completely new Pokey Stick. That's at least how Zoe works with Super Cool Star Chart. Now, to level up GNAR, round end, you've damaged the enemy Nexus this round. So just like his followers, all the round end transform kind of stuff, he's a transformation champion. What does GNAR do when he levels up? He turns into Mega GNAR. I think this is actually the first champion who has a different name between his level 1 and level 2 forms. Mega GNAR, still a Yordle, now has Overwhelm along with Quick Attack. He's a 6/5. He gets +2/+2. More than the normal +1/+1, or that's different than the +1/+1 that is pretty standard for most champs. When I level up, grant the strongest enemy vulnerable. Okay. Round end, if I've seen you start the round with the attack token, transform me back into GNAR. So he goes back to his level 1 form. So that's kind of cute. He bounces between level 1 and level 2 forms back and forth, which is actually really nice because his level 2 form actually wants to turn back, wants to actually be coming back over and over, because he kind of sucks if he didn't go back to his level 1 form. So, GNAR. I don't know, he's pretty good. He's like, so here's the thing. GNAR is Echo, but good. So you're trading off Time Trick for Pokestick, and sure, Time Trick is better when it comes to finding cards than Pokestick, and the burst speed is nice, but one, Echo's Time Trick, assuming level 1, is fleeting, and you still have to pay 2 mana. That's bad. If GNAR's Pokestick was fleeting, sure, I think that would be fine. I think GNAR wouldn't be that strong. But the fact that the Pokestick is not fleeting is nuts. And plus, you can argue that Pokestick is just a better spell than Time Trick because it actually affects the board. It can go face to activate, well, just level up GNAR and activate all the other GNAR followers too. So yeah, very, very scary champ here. It very easily transforms and levels up too. The vulnerable just lets him, giving vulnerable to something, it's usually going to be a big thing. Not that many things will be bigger than a level 2 GNAR. 6/5 is a fairly big stat line. And if they do try to fight with combat tricks like Sharp Sight and stuff, you have his champ spell Wallop to stun it and basically be like, no, I don't want this fight anymore. So yeah, GNAR is terrifying. Also, his champ spell, Wallop. Wallop is a 3-mana fast spell. Deal 1 to an enemy and stun it. So it's a Steel Tempest for 1 more mana. And in exchange for that 1 extra mana, you get to play it outside of combat, because Steel Tempest has to be used during combat, and it only stuns things that are attacking, if I remember correctly. And you also get a ping. Now, granted, you only ping that 1 unit you're stunning, but it's still pretty decent. So, I don't know, I like it. It's just a little too expensive, though. And I don't think really that many Bandle City decks would like this card. But as for as a champ spell, I think it's a pretty solid champ spell. And it works pretty well with GNAR as well. Your opponent blocks Mega GNAR, you wall up the blocker, you push in a lot of damage with Overwhelm, or they try to block GNAR or Mega GNAR and use some combat tricks to try and kill GNAR, and then you're like, oh no, I don't like this, I don't want to try and fight here, because you either don't have combat tricks or you don't want to waste your combat tricks because you think your opponent might have more. Then you play Wallop to basically cancel out the combat, which is good. But yeah, I don't know. If it was 1 mana less, well, first off, that would be pretty much power creep on Steel Tempest, but it's just too expensive. I don't know. I'm just not a fan of it. Okay, pretty okay card to get from Conchologist, though. Wallop is a solid card. Again, it's a fine card. It's strong. It's just not strong enough to actually make me want to put it in my deck. And I guess I feel obligated to say this. Bandle City Yasuo, question mark? Don't play Yasuo. He's bad. Look, I love Yasuo. I've played a lot of Yasuo. He's real bad. More stuns is not what's going to help out Yasuo. I've learned that. I've just come to terms with that. But yeah, my favorite thing about GNAR, though, is he, unlike a lot of other champions that have been released in the game before, he doesn't seem to be stuck in a very specific archetype, or even worse, with one single champion, like Nautilus. Nautilus is always my go-to. Nautilus, you're kind of stuck playing deep if you want to play Nautilus. To a lesser extent, Soraka. Sure, Soraka's getting some more support, and people are going to try out Soraka again, but Soraka, for the longest time, was stuck with Tahm Kench. People tried Soraka with other things like Zillion and Braum. It never really saw much success, though. But yeah, GNAR can go with Udyr, Sejuani, Renekton for like the old Freljord, Shurima Overwhelm decks. I personally, what I'm looking at right away is GNAR Shellfolk. I think GNAR Ezreal Shellfolk. GNAR gives you Poké Sticks to help control the board, help cycle through your deck, leveling up the Ezreal as well. If you do level up Mega GNAR, or level him up into Mega GNAR, which is not hard, his level up's so easy to do, then you have some kind of removal. And the vulnerable that Mega GNAR gives is permanent. It's not a grant the strongest enemy unit vulnerable for the turn. It's just grant them vulnerable. They're permanently vulnerable. That's terrifying for a lot of decks. It's like, sure, I can save the thing that you're pulling in, but it's still vulnerable. So yeah, that's going to be terrifying. That's my game plan, is just GNAR Ezreal Shellfolk. I've also thought like maybe GNAR Lux Shellfolk. GNAR gives Poké Sticks for Lux. That way you could get some lifesteal with Radiant Guardians. So yeah, I like it. Seems pretty okay. I don't think I would say it's good. And yes, you can play Fae Sprout, I think is the card. The 1 mana Manifest a Fae and give it +1/+1. That card I think is actually decent in Shellfolk decks. So you could actually play that deck in your Ezreal GNAR decks if you want to try and find some life gain that way. You just try to manifest Tasty Fae Folk, really. And it pairs well with Shellfolk as well, of course. So yeah, GNAR, scary, scary card. Very versatile, though, and I do love cards that are versatile, but GNAR is very terrifying. Now, we have a few more cards, though. We have 2 more cards to talk about real quick. We already talked about Wallop. Basically, it's okay. Good champ spell, but I wouldn't put it in my deck. Pretty decent off of Conchologist to just sum it up. So, Mini T. We had the Mini T. Now we have the Mini T and the Mega T. So, what are they? Well, first off, it's an epic, so it's unplayable. Ha 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 ha. But seriously, Mini T is a 7 mana 6/6. No keywords, no tribe, not even a Fae. Round end, if you've damaged the enemy Nexus this round, transform into Mega T. So it's one of those transform cards. So what does Mega T do? 7 mana 8/8. Okay, big stats. Impact. Okay, sounds good. Round start. Transform the strongest enemy into a 3/3 Mini T and silence it. So basically a shorter way to say that is round start, mini morph the strongest enemy. It can't block. That's nuts. Like, that's a really, looking at the card without looking at mana cost or looking at meta, the card is powerful. Round start, mini morph, the strongest thing, and then it can't block on top of that is pretty strong. Now here's the problem. It's 7 mana. I always say 6 mana and higher units have to do something when they come down. This doesn't do anything. It doesn't even have a keyword, too. It doesn't have, like, tough or, I don't even know, regeneration or anything. This just comes down and it's like, yeah, I'm a 7 mana 6/6. So it comes down and you still have to damage the Nexus on top of that. And then you have to wait until the end of the round to transform into the Mega T. The payoff is good, though. The problem is it's just so slow. Like, the game, Legends of Runeterra, is a very fast game and has been a fast game for months and months on end by now. Here's the thing. A lot of decks end games around turn 7. The only deck I can even think of that would maybe play Mini-T is maybe Darkness. Maybe Shellfolk, but this along with Shellfolk is really slow. But yeah, I can see this maybe as a one-of in Darkness over, say, the Ruination spot, which is already kind of a flex spot anyway. But yeah, I'm not I don't know. I think it's going to just be hard for this to actually work. Like, I don't know what deck wants this outside of, like, a control deck, but control decks want to start to stabilize. Around turn 7, control decks need to stabilize fast because the aggro and mid-range decks are trying to close out the game on turn 7 with, you know, Decimates, Absolvers, etc., etc. So they need something that stabilizes quickly. And Mini-T doesn't stabilize that quickly. Mini-T, also because it's pretty much mini morphing units, it's leaving behind a board. It's not getting rid of units. It is leaving behind 3/3s. Sure, there are 3/3s and you might be mini morphing, say, like, I don't know, what's something relatively big that's played right now? A Pantheon? A Wounded White Flame? Yeah, but you're still probably going to be in a tough spot because you still got to deal with a Mini-T. I don't know, though. So I'm not too impressed by this card. I will play it, though. I am going to say that. I am going to play Mini-T because it is a card that I like. It's got lots of value to it. And 7 mana 8/8 is pretty strong. But yeah, I'm not too high up on this card. I know a lot of people on Reddit are really mad at this card. They're like, "Oh wow, it's a card that mini morphs your best card at the start of every turn." I'm like, "Yeah, but it's 7 mana and you have to flip it. And it doesn't get the first mini morph until turn 8. And you can't control what it is mini morphing either." So, I'm not a fan of it. Now, what's the last card? Primal Strength. 4 mana burst speed spell, grant an ally +2/+2 and impact. Awful card. Just awful in my opinion. I don't know what this card is doing. So, and here's the reason it's awful. We have this card in the game already for half the cost, kind of. Before you say, no we don't, streamer. Yes, we do. Primal Strength is just Flame Spitter for 2 more mana, and the extra 2 mana you're paying is giving you 2 health. If you don't remember, because I can't blame you, not many people play Flame Spitter. Flame Spitter is a 2 mana, grant a ally +2/+0 and impact. It's pretty much the same exact card, except Primal Strength gives 2 health as well. And Flame Spitter is already not that great of a card. Sure, it sees like fringe play in certain decks, but even then, it's not that great. So I'm not too impressed by Primal Strength. I think it is garbage. I think it's unplayable. You can't even find it from Conchologist because it costs too much. I am glad it's not 3 mana because this thing at 3 mana would actually be a little scary. Just for the fact that you could find it off a Conchologist, but at 3 mana, I'd actually start to consider playing this in my decks. But at 4 mana, it's just a little too expensive. Sure, the health is nice, and the fact that it's permanent is nice, but I'm not a fan of this card. Anyway, though, that's it for today. Short video, but we only got 4 cards. There's not that much I can talk about here. GNAR is very interesting and is going to be very annoying in my opinion, but he's not that complex, so there wasn't much to talk about. And as for the other cards, well, Mini-T is cute and interesting, but it's not that good card. And Wallop and Primal Strength are pretty much cards we've already seen before in the meta or in the game as well. They're just slightly differently tuned. Anyway, though, like I said, that's going to be it for the video. I hope you enjoyed it. I'd love to hear your opinions on GNAR and these cards as well. Maybe you think GNAR, I'm overrating GNAR. Maybe you think I'm even underrating GNAR when I say GNAR I think is one of the best the best champ. Maybe you think he's busted. I'd love to hear your opinions. What kind of decks you think GNAR can go in? And I'd love to hear your opinions on these other cards too. Maybe you think I'm being too hard on Primal Strength. Maybe you think Primal Strength is actually good and I'm missing something here. Same with Minity and Wallop. Maybe I'm missing something that you guys can clarify for me. I'd love to hear your opinions down below. And if you guys just enjoyed the video in general, I'd love it if you could leave a like or a comment down below. Always helps out the channel. And if you guys want to keep up with the Legends of Runeterra content, you can always go and subscribe to the channel as well. Also, if you want to watch me play some Legends of Runeterra, you can go and check me out over on Twitch at twitch.tv/Senaton, where I stream pretty much every single day. Anyway, though, with that all said and done, thank you all again once more for watching this video, and until I see you guys in the next one, bye!